views expressed on this program are those of the producers and individuals appearing on this program and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Sun Prairie Media Center staff, its video service providers, or the staff and elected officials of the City of Sun Prairie.
You are now watching the Alan and DJ Show.
Yo, yo, yo! Milwaukee, Sun Prairie, Hinsdale, Illinois, Chicago, and all the surrounding areas. I know what time this is. It's time for the Alan and DJ Show. Once again, I'm Alan.
And this is your boy DJ.
How we doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh man, I'm good. You know, now that I just got done auditioning. So let these guys introduce themselves once again.
I'm Don Underwood, and this is my wife Joanna Underwood. We're the owners of Beaus and Beaus Model and Talent. We've been here, it's our 22nd year? 22nd year.
Man, that's awesome, because that says a lot about their agency, their business, and once again, how I said it in episode 1, it's like family. So without further ado, let's tackle this, man. So let's talk about submission strategy. I want to kind of focus on that for a minute. When it comes to submission for a talent agency, enrolled in anything when it comes to opportunities, what do you guys look for?
Well, we're looking for talent.
For sure, talent.
But talent is comes in a lot of different ways. I mean,
yeah.
Sometimes it's people that are fashion types.
Yeah.
And but that's not our main focus. We're more of a real people agency.
Nice.
But you just never know. Sometimes it's the personality.
For sure.
You just find somebody that that clicks, and you do a Zoom call with them. Used to be we did all in-person interviews, but that all changed with COVID. And now all the interviews that we do essentially are Zoom calls. Joanna does them all. That's her specialty.
Yes.
What are the steps when submitting a talent for an audition?
Well, the projects, the way the business works is that the casting directors are hired by a client. That client could be an advertiser, it could be a production company, it could be an ad agency. They are the ones that are going to be hired by that client. They're going to put together the project information.
Okay.
And when we receive it, it's called a breakdown. And basically what they're doing is giving you all the specifics for this project that they want the talent, they need the talent for. So if it's a TV series, it will be the producer, the days when that production will be filming for that particular episode.
Nice.
And then they will give the list of all the roles of the talent they need for that particular episode.
Absolutely.
They all start with age, gender, and ethnic group.
Okay.
So that's going to be our first search that we're going to do. And then let's say that we have 5 people that meet that role description. The role description itself then may have some additional information that is going to even limit the number of people even further. So if they're asking for someone that speaks Serbian, and we don't have anyone that speaks Serbian, we're not going to be able to submit in that role.
Okay.
But it could be height, it could be particular artistic skills, where it might be playing a musical instrument, it might be the dance that they do.
It could be sports,
it could
playing
be
basketball,
athletic,
football,
right. So that's going to then bring that total number of talent that we can submit to a very small number. And sometimes we can't submit anyone.
Yeah.
And as soon as we put a check mark by the talent's headshot, which they are in our database or on the platforms that we use, which are Actors Access and Casting Networks, that information about that particular actor is automatically going to be sent to the casting director. So they're going to see the headshot, they're going to be able to see that person's resume, they're going to be able to see their skills and talents. And at that point, the casting director is going to sort through all the submissions, not just the ones from Babes and Beaus, but from all of the Chicagoland area, right?
Absolutely.
And then if they decide they like someone from Babes and Beaus, then that's when we receive the audition request, which is when the talent, you will be receiving that audition request.
Okay.
And there's always a deadline. So it's not that you can send it in anytime you want.
Okay.
If the deadline is 2 o'clock on Thursday and it's not received by 2 o'clock on Thursday, you've lost that audition.
Yeah, they cut it
opportunity.
off. They just cut it off at
Got you.
a specific time.
Right.
Got you. Also, I'm gonna follow up with another question. When the talent is picked, what are the next steps to get them to the shoot?
Okay, so after you do the original submission, which is usually a video, whether it's a commercial TV series. For print work, it's usually photos, like a full body shot, a close-up with a smile, a profile, etc. Then the next step is usually a check availability. It could be a callback,
Okay.
a hold, or so those are the three categories that we're looking for. That means you've gone to the next step.
Got
Right.
All right. And then after they do that, the casting director does that with a talent. The next step is either you're booked or you're released.
Yeah.
So we're always hoping that you're booked, but they're going to put more than one person on hold or check avail, etc. And then once they do, the client is the one that makes the final decision. We do not make that decision. So it's either going to be the director of the TV series, it's going to be the ad company, or it could be the client, could be an advertiser. So they're the ones that make the decision, and that's when we get notified whether you're going to have the job.
Okay.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's nice.
So then if you have the job, then you're going to get a call sheet.
Okay.
So the call sheet is going to be, you're going to be at this location at this time for wardrobe. You're going to be at this location and at this time for the shoot date. And you always are going to be required to be there at least 10 hours on any shoot. Okay?
Definitely. And when it comes to like commission structure, so what I mean by that is like, so let's say if I book the job and the job may be paying a certain amount of dollars, and then like how does it work when it comes to like certain talent agencies in certain markets? Like is it 15 to 20%? And then also to follow up like with that question, because even in the past, like, and I had agents that wasn't like real talent agents, and you got to pay all this money up front, and $500 to get you going, and then $69 a month to have your picture on the website, and back then, if you don't know, you really think like that's the route to go. And then when you find like a real, like talent agency like Babes and Beaus, and some like around the Chicagoland area, you start learning like the industry, like if you gotta pay something, run it. So I guess that's a question that like most like actors want to know when it comes to like when they're trying to find like a talent agency, like how does like the whole submission process work as far as like once checks get cut out, like do they take 15 to 20% out, and do you have to pay up front if you're auditioning for like a talent agency, or what to
You
watch
never
out
have
for?
to pay to audition for a specific job.
Yeah.
If you're going in for a commercial, you never pay anything to do that audition, so that doesn't cost you anything out of pocket. If you book a job, It really depends. SAG jobs, we're SAG franchised agency. They allow us to receive 10%, and that's uniform throughout SAG. For non-union and print, we typically charge the talent 20%.
Okay.
Typically, and
So in case you don't know what SAG is,
Screen Actors Guild.
it's going to be the Screen Actors Guild, which is the union for the industry, the entertainment industry. And so they basically set the fee structure and also the work schedule. So if you're doing anything that's under what we call the SAG umbrella, it's based on an 8-hour day.
Okay.
And it's going to be time and a half after 8 hours and double time after 10 hours. Whereas if it's a non-union project, which is still the majority of the work that's done in the Chicagoland area, then you're looking at a 10-hour day.
Okay.
So that's the difference, because they don't have to follow any of the SAG rules. So each production company kind of
They set their own rates.
They set their
There's
own.
no uniform rate.
Whereas, if you're booked for a day player role, which is the majority of the bookings,
Series, TV series.
yeah, for the TV series, is currently that rate is $1,204.
Got
It doesn't matter if you're 30 years old, 10 years old, 80 years old, you're going to be paid $1,204.
Yeah.
Whereas with a non-union project, they usually will have a rate for a kid, and then they'll have another rate for an adult.
Okay. Got it. And like, my question is, what would be some of the reasons to drop a talent? If y'all ever had to do that.
Yeah.
Or like feedback, for an example, like if someone was, let's say, like at an audition, or maybe they booked the role, we'll say, and that talent was like, you're not living up to part.
Yeah.
We've had experience where a talent booked a role and was out having lunch and was smoking weed in his car. Yeah. Yeah, and that's a negative.
Yeah.
But I mean, it really depends on how they interact with the production company or the company that's doing the commercial. Sometimes they just hit it off, and we've had people get booked time and time again for the same client, and then other times it's personality a lot of times.
Right.
It's just they just don't.
They don't gel.
They don't gel. That's right. Yeah.
But, we also have, our own policy. So if we receive a call from either a casting director or a production company, or, we also work with individual clients that, they didn't show up at their call the time that
Yeah,
the shoot.
that's a negative.
It's
Say the
supposed
least.
to start, they're, an hour late, and there's no reason why they're an hour late. Or there's been, cases where someone has been very difficult to work with on set. That's going to be an automatic removal from our talent roster, because we have a good reputation. If we keep that person on our roster, we're not going to maintain that reputation.
Yeah, because like no telling if it will happen again.
Right.
And that's why I always say this, because like you say, you've been around family, and Babes and Beaus is like family. So even like in our business, we learn to adapt something like their culture as well. Like if it ain't life or death, you better have a good reason why you was late.
Yeah.
Because it's still a business at the end of the day. But my question to you guys is like, what is some of like your success stories when it comes to like your talent agency, as far as like talent, like some like some of like the biggest shows that your talent might have booked, or commercials, or anything of that sort?
Well, we've had on Chicago Fire, we've had an actor who had a recurring role for how many years? Two, 3 years?
For,
Chicago Fire.
you mean Andy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he started out as having a small role,
Beautiful.
and then they kind of flushed out that role, and he appeared on several episodes, but they were always more lines than what he had in the previous.
Oh yeah.
You know, so unfortunately he was killed off.
Dang, Andy.
You're
so yeah, you know, so that would be, you know, one of our success stories. We also have had talent on ExxonMobil national commercials.
Beautiful.
We also did one. What was the other one? That was BP. We had one of our kids on a national BP commercial. You know, we've done also Home Depot. That's been another one. Dairy Queen was another national commercial.
There's been a
A
lot.
lot. I can't even remember. So those situations have happened if we had, you know, a breakout star that everyone would recognize. No, you know, those are few and far between. I mean, we did have one of our kids do a feature film with Matthew McConaughey.
Okay.
First thing he did.
First thing he did. So you never know. And then the last year, you know, we had a number of our talent on Emperor of Ocean Park, which was being filmed here with Forrest Whitaker.
Beautiful.
And we're looking forward that John Goodman is going to be shooting in Champaign, Illinois.
Okay.
And so we're
John
doing
Goodman and
Bryan Cranston.
Okay.
Judy Greer, Sean Astin. They're all major stars. We just got this breakdown on Friday.
That's beautiful.
And they're going to be shooting for a month in Champaign, Illinois.
Ooh,
And so we, you know, and we had 10 roles that they're looking for submissions.
Nice.
So we've submitted people, but we haven't heard anything. And most of those roles are day players.
Right.
But a couple of them, you know, have more than, you know, one scene. But, you know, just to work on set with John.
Man,
It's
it's an honor.
John Goodman. I mean, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
cool. And we also, talking about Chicago Med, we've got an actor who's been in a recurring role in that one for 4 seasons now.
Beautiful, man.
So, I mean, it happens.
Yeah, he's probably been in, I would say, about 70 episodes at this point.
Really? Goodness.
Oh,
Yeah, right. I'm a permanent role in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I keep saying.
Yeah.
Come on, let's make the,
Yeah, it was, for a moment there, we thought they were going to expand his, you know, presence on this, on that particular series, because he was doing you know, they were using him like as a DJ along with a X-ray technician, but it kind of just stayed there. It didn't go any
but,
further.
you know, he's happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. Hey, man,
We're happy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I'll be happy too. I'm
Yeah.
Hey, why they call me again?
Yeah.
You know what? They keep calling me like this. I'm gonna have to quit my job.
Yeah.
But to kind of like wrap things up a little bit, if I were a talent looking for like representation today, and I would want to sign with Babes and Beaus, like what is some of the things that like I could expect from like your talent agency as far as like moving forward? Like, because I can only speak for myself, it feels like family to me.
You know, we get that a lot, family. I mean, that.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's pretty much how it's worked for us. So.
I think we try to make sure we reply to talent's emails, or
Yeah.
you know, we're here at the office usually by 10 o'clock till 5 o'clock
Yeah.
At a minimum.
at a minimum, right?
Sometimes 7 or 8.
So there's either Don or myself are always here. So you're just not speaking with an assistant who doesn't pass the information on. You know, we're here.
Sure.
We're going to answer the questions. That's our job, I guess.
Most
And
definitely.
and it's the same thing with emails. We really try to get back to the talent. You know, I've heard stories from talent that have moved from other agencies to Babes and Beaus, and they've told me, you know, that they haven't been able to get in touch with their agent because
Yeah.
she hasn't, you know, they haven't been replying to emails. You're lucky if they reply in 3 to 4 weeks. Well, by 3 or 4 weeks, the problem might have,
Yeah.
it's too
Yeah.
late, you know. So
No, it's true.
we really, you know, try to be more hands-on and, to help you through this process, because I always tell, whether it's a parent or a new talent, the first time you get an audition, call me,
Yeah.
because you think you're doing it right, but you may, the chances are you're not.
Exactly.
And, we want you to always put your best foot forward, because you don't want the casting to remember, oh yeah, that guy was really awful. I'm not going to look at any more
Next.
videos. So, you really have to sometimes walk everyone through, this is what you do first. This is the second, they're asking you for a slate, they're asking you to do scene 1, they're asking you to do a scene 2.
Gotcha.
So you make sure that you have all those media requests when you're uploading your media for that casting director.
Definitely. Anything else you want to add on, DJ?
If somebody wanted to become an agent, like how would they go about doing
Well, we probably did it the wrong way, but
that?
a lot of people that are in this industry, do have either a background in, a degree in theater or, on camera work.
Gotcha.
Many will start with that degree, but then will become interns at a casting company.
Got it.
So they learn the business, or they will be an intern at, an agency like us.
Yes.
And that's the way to kind of learn the business. And then if you want to open your own agency, then there's certain state regulations that you have to follow. So we are licensed in the state of Illinois.
Okay.
Nice.
We have to.
SAG license.
We have a SAG license also. So
License.
those are all things that, if you're a reputable agency, you're going to have those designations.
Gotcha.
And then also too, you can tell if they're real if you're going like the Better Business Bureau, because you gotta watch it, because it's a lot of scams out there mixed in with real talent agents. So I advise you guys to just do your homework, and anytime they ask for money up front, like yeah, it's $1,000 and we'll do this.
Yeah, that's a red flag right there.
Yeah, run. But how can they find you guys? As far as like any social media links, websites.
Well, our Facebook page is going to be babesandbowschicago.com, and you can look on Facebook, and we also have Facebook, and if you want to submit, you would need to submit your headshot and resume to babesandb at babesandbowschicago.com, and or you can look at the address on our webpage, and you would submit that information and put on the subject line "New Talent Submission." And if we decide that we're interested in speaking with you, we will contact you and ask you for a monologue or a reel or a clip,
And then
then we would
do a
speak
Zoom
through.
interview if we want to go further.
Yes.
You know, get into more detail.
All right. And then you guys are down heard it first, you know. I would say this agency right here, I'm telling you, it's like family. They make sure that they bring the best out of you. And look where we at today. It wouldn't be no Sun Prairie. I'm telling you this right now. If it wasn't for Beaus and Beaus.
We're so proud that we
Yeah,
were able to.
Man, like we learned a lot. We learned a lot, and you know those same business practices. We use it in our business as well. You know, and be punctual, be on time, and no nonsense. You know, like fooling around, especially on set, like at the studio. Sometimes when we be at, you know, we just gotta let you go. Can't do work with you. But until next time, the Alan and DJ Show. You can find us on AlanandDJShow@gmail.com if you have any questions about what you want us to talk about next. You can find us on our YouTube page and fan page on Facebook at the Alan and DJ Show. You can find my personal page, Alan Hutchinson, on Instagram and Facebook, and our producer, William J. Smith, on Instagram and Facebook. And until next time, be the highlight reel of your own life. And learn how to get your agent name right like me. I still got to keep learning that. Stay well, stay healthy.
Peace.